What's going on, folks? I am Goat, and welcome to the breakdown. So, you'll notice there is a slight change in lighting here, change in microphone position to a point. Again, I'm still testing different things, but we're just going to kind of see where it goes and do my usual notes and so on. And I had a few people ask me, kind of hit me up privately and ask me if I was planning on doing picks. And I can simply say this: I'm not going to do picks until it's time for the playoffs. Like, as soon as we get up into the playoffs to where we know where teams really are sitting, because especially this season, this shit's been erratic as fuck. So until we get to the actual, just prior to the postseason, as far as just before the first week of wild card, I'll go ahead and throw an extra video in for picks. I will try anyway. So week 12. Dude. 5 weeks in a row, 5, maybe 6 weeks in a row. This has been fucking bonkers, okay? Absolutely bonkers. It's been one of the nuttier fucking years in the NFL in a while. So, let's talk Bears and Lions. Who cares? I mean, other than Bears fans and Lions fans, which, who cares? These teams are a fucking mess. I mean, there's literally one thing to say about this game. Okay, it's two trash teams who's basically got finished seasons at this point. The slightly better team won, and Matt Nagy gets to keep his job for another week. That's it. And don't get me wrong, I like Matt Nagy. I really do. I think he was very good as the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and I think that he has the potential to be a good coach. I just don't think his supporting staff is really doing him any justice for what he's capable of. So, next game. Like, truthfully, I will say this. I really wish that they would stop making Lions games one of the Thanksgiving tradition games. Because, truthfully, I think it's a disservice to Thanksgiving, because I'm not thankful to watch a Lions game. I'm just not. So, the next game. This was one I was very interested in. Raiders at Cowboys. And my thought was very simple of this: who rebounds better from their losses? Raiders 36, Cowboys 33. So my point for the Raiders: it's a question of who was going to rebound better, and well, the Raiders offense did, but their defense did not. Yes, they got the win, but that's not really saying a lot when the Cowboys receiving core is in fucking shambles and their number one running back is banged up. Good for the Raiders that they got the win, but if you want to compare same division teams like the Chiefs and the Raiders, defense is going to take the day 8 out of 10 games, because look at what the Chiefs defense did to the Cowboys offense just a week before. I mean, they fucking dominated the Cowboys. The Raiders did not. The Raiders allowed the fucking Cowboys to put up 33 fucking points. Big fucking difference divisionally on the AFC West at this point. Will that change? Yeah, with the Raiders, anything's possible. So the Cowboys. There's a lot going on here, okay? But not a lot of description. They're very depleted at receiver right now, to a point. They've got a beat-up number one running back, Ezekiel Elliott. He's got that fucked up knee. And Dak is not looking amazing, but also not bad. I don't know where the hell this team is at right now. I really don't. I'm just confused at where they are, because early in the season, I'm screaming accolades for these guys about how fucking good they look and how they look like the fucking Cowboys of the 90s. And then now I'm looking at them like in the days of Tony Romo, crushing and falling apart at the end of the season. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I mean, we're going to have to just see where this team goes week by week at this point and see if they can even make the postseason. Now, do I think that anybody in the NFC East poses a credible threat to the Cowboys? And I'm going to say yes. It's only one team. And it's going to take the Cowboys really stepping on their dick and this other team to play exceptionally well. But yes, there is one credible threat to the Cowboys leading the division going into the end of the season. Talk about that shortly. Next game, Bills at Saints. And my note to this game of interest was the bipolar Bills response. Bills 31, Saints 6. So the Bills, well, I'm honestly not shocked with the outcome. I'm really not. Let's just be 100% straight about that. I'm not shocked with it whatsoever. I mean, the Bills seem like the more capable team of beating up lesser teams, and that's certainly what they've been showing us. But that's where the realm of the Saints, that's where they're sitting right now. They're a beat up, banged up, lesser team. I want to see the Bills take on a good opponent that's playing at their prime and beat them. Because right now the Chiefs look good. Early in the season they did not, and the Bills beat them because they look like crap. I want to see the Chiefs and the Bills go head to head again. Now that the Chiefs defense is getting its head out of its ass, I want to see what the Bills defense or what the Bills offense would look like against that defense that we saw last week against the Cowboys. I think that would be a cool showing. Now, offense to defense, I think it would be a very defensive game if it was the Chiefs and Bills next week. So, but it is what it is. Again, I want to see them take on a contending team, a present contending team that's playing well, and see what the fuck their reaction is to it. Because honestly, I don't think it's going to be very good. It goes without saying again and again and again and again and again. And I do want to talk about the Rams on the other side of this, but the Bills have now had the majority of this roster for a couple of seasons now, like 2. They're on season number 2 of this roster, and their coaching staff really hasn't had too many changes. So they looked way better than this last year, and they don't look near as good this year. I don't know what the problem is, but they look fucked up. Okay? But until they play a real, true team of contention and just beat the piss out of them, or at least make a real game of it instead of just crumbling, I can't really give a good evaluation of this team. They're just a fucking mess. I don't know if somebody just needs to start throwing fucking, lithium at them to get their bipolar disorder under control or what, but this is just fucked up. The Saints. No run game. Alvin Kamara was out. Ingram was out. So no run game. A sketchy quarterback, behind running things. And a defense just absolutely reeling. Just reeling. I mean, just falling on its own fucking face. I truly saw the Saints at the beginning of the season when they had Jameis Winston and Kamara and, and Michael Thomas and everybody. And I mean, granted, Thomas hasn't played all year, but I was hoping for him to pop in and really see what this team was going to do. But right now, they don't look good. They don't look good at all. Do I even think that they're going to hit the postseason? Probably not. I mean, right now, they're in the squad of bubble, okay? Like, they're completely out of contention for the present wild card run. Now, that doesn't say much giving the bottom couple of spots, but it says a lot given how they've been playing the last few weeks. Steelers at Bengals, no fucking surprise here to me, personally. Steelers 10, Bengals 41. The Steelers' semi-depleted defense goes against a very potential high-flying offense. I can't say that I'm surprised with the turnout whatsoever. This was just terrible worst-case scenario for them. Divisional opponent, and they got fucking stomped, to put it mildly. The Bengals. I keep saying that the Bengals look legit, and they 100% took advantage of a struggling Steelers defense. There's really not much more to say here. This is an interesting one, because I've been bagging on one of these teams so fucking bad this season, and all of a sudden, here they come to prove old GOAT a little wrong. And I'm fine with that. I want teams to prove me wrong, okay? Panthers at Dolphins. Panthers 10, Dolphins 33. Well, for the Panthers, Cam comes back to be Superman. He looked like ass. As well as the rest of the offense. 1 rushing touchdown and a field goal. And they coughed up the ball 3 fucking times. That's a scheme for killing your season right there. I don't know what's I think the list of what isn't broken on the Panthers team at this point is actually shorter than what is. Just my opinion. The Dolphins. So it looks like the Dolphins are trying very hard to get their second wind here. Is it too little too late? That's what we all get to wait and see at this point. But the bottom end of the wild card race being all over the board in the AFC as well as the NFC, honestly, it's insane to seriously say that if they continue this progress, that there's actually hope, especially given how bad they looked at the beginning of the season. It's crazy to be saying right now the Dolphins actually have a chance, but they do. They absolutely do. Crazy. Let's cover what this game was, though. The defense is just literally beat the hell out of the Panthers, first of all, but they've been beating the hell out of teams for 6 games now. Tua has actually looked good the last 4 games, especially. They actually had a running game, and the defense, again, harassed the hell out of a very struggling offense. Yeah, it's a way to win a game, and they did it again. I'm starting to get interested in what they might be able to finish out like. I don't know. I know that I've given the Dolphins a lot of shit this season, and rightfully so. But I also have to say that if they can maintain this level of play, they could make the bottom end of the playoffs look very, very interesting. Can they go all the way? Probably not, unless they shore up a few offensive wiggling, just kind of nagging issues. It's still a bit too early to tell with the contention being this tight at the bottom end of the playoffs, but as of right now, they're starting to stir the pot. Next game, Eagles at Giants. Throwing the pun here. Wow, this hurt. This hurts. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 31 for 129 yards and 3 picks. I don't care that he ran for 77 fucking yards. If you drop that many fucking interceptions and only score 1 touchdown against a Giants defense that's been struggling, that's a really big telling issue on where I feel that the Eagles season has been all year. Just all over the place and in dire need of some real level of control over this offense. Defensively, they did more than enough to stay in the game, but that's as good as it gets. So the Giants, I keep saying that this team is scrappy, and although I looked at this as another failed season, or I look at this as another failed season, I also see signs of minor hope from this drive that the team just always seemingly keeps digging deep every single game. No matter how bad they're playing, no matter how bad the scoreboard looks, they don't stop. And honestly, they made Jalen Hurts in this game look like a fucking varsity quarterback against an NFL team. And their offense did just enough. I mean, just enough to stay ahead and win. Big game of interest for me. Titans at Patriots. This was the test on what they were going to do running the ball and closing out drives against a defense that's been on a roll. This is a contending team versus a contending team. Big game of interest. Can the Titans bounce back from the last game? So I questioned if they were going to continue their success without Derrick Henry, and without Derrick Henry in there, there's just no real, there's no real threat of that one running back to work a realistic play action scheme. Now, this game does stand a little bit of interest on that, I will say that. But that play action scheme is how they've feasted over the last 2 seasons now. And I'll say this. This was a real showing of what to expect of a team in contention. 2 weeks in a row, absolutely atrocious offense. And the defense is getting a little suspect. They just are. Just kind of like earlier in the season. They're just kind of doing some boneheaded things. Yes, I will say that they had a huge running attack in this game. But they also lost 3 fumbles and gave up an interception. So 270 yards of rushing on the ground sounds fucking amazing, but if you first of all give up the ball 4 times, can't close out fucking drives, you're not going to have any realistic expectations of winning the game. Okay? That's the thing. I don't give a shit how many fucking yards. You can put up 1,000 yards in a fucking game. If you can't close out a fucking drive, what's the point? Those numbers mean jack shit. The scoreboard is what matters. Patriots, yes, they gave up 270 yards on the ground, but they were daring the Titans to actually run on them, and they honestly made them pay for it. They gave up the yardage, but not the scores to finish them off. They only allowed 93 yards in the fucking air and secured 4 fucking turnovers. This was an albeit odd but very efficient win over a top-seeded team in the AFC. Which now is not. The Patriots are seemingly back at this present moment. It is worrisome that they gave up 270 yards, but at the same time, they gave up 270 yards, but proved that they can bend but not break, and that's a big, big thing. So, as I titled this, game of no interest to me, Falcons at Jaguars. Falcons 21, Jaguars 14. Look, I literally don't care about the outcome. I didn't care about the outcome of this game, as no team involved as I see making any sort of realistic run at the NFC Conference Championship at this point. The Jags didn't look great. The Falcons actually ran the ball and still didn't look great. So that's that. I mean, I'm sorry it's not an in-depth fucking walkthrough of it, but if you honestly tell me that you think either one of these teams is going to make it to the championship game, you are fucking lying to yourself. So the Bucs at the Colts. Game of interest because the Colts have been very, very, very scrappy lately. So the Bucs. So this didn't come down to a great defense, as they're beat to hell. This didn't come down to Tom Brady being a clutch quarterback, as he honestly was efficient enough, but not amazing, with 1 touchdown and 1 pick. This came down to a team taking advantage of the Colts as they were shooting themselves in the fucking foot in the second half. If it wasn't for that, this would have been another Bucs loss. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. They did not look very good until the Colts started fucking up. Once the Colts started fucking up, they took advantage of it and scored, and that is what that was. So the Colts. Talk about a tale of two halves with this game. The Colts looked absolutely fucking great in the first half and fairly terrible in the second. Although they kept it damn close, in the end, they could not overcome their own mistakes. And I do see I see them as being a problematic team for other teams going into the postseason if they can make it. But will they win? I can't honestly say, but I don't see it. Jets at Texans. Another game of absolutely no interest for me. Jets 21, Texans 14. Kudos to the Jets for getting a win. You know, and that's about it. I mean, look, crap beat crap. I mean, I'm glad somebody actually won instead of getting some weird ass ironic tie just to put salt in the wound. Another game of interest for me. Chargers at Broncos. Can the Chargers rebound, and how are the Broncos going to look? Coming in, they weren't looking terrible, surprisingly. So the Chargers, I just don't know what to say. This was a team that I saw as being a legitimate contender to potentially take down the Chiefs and lead the AFC West into the postseason. Right now, they look like they're falling apart at the fucking seams. Just somebody's pulling the string and they're unraveling. I don't know that I can give a for sure answer or a breakdown of what the fuck is broken, but there's a lot of it broken for sure right now. That's the best I can say. So Bridgewater ended up going out with another injury and bringing Drew Lock, and he throws a fucking pick. This is literally the story of this dude's career. I swear to God, he is just so fucking rough with the ball. He's had, I think, one good game this season. Overall, the defense absolutely harassed the shit out of the Chargers offense and just absolutely gave themselves the much needed opportunity to get the win. And that's just the truth of it. They bullied the shit out of the Chargers and won. It really kind of breaks your head that they traded off their top defensive player being Von Miller, and they don't even look like they're missing him in the least. I mean, go back and watch a replay of that game. Tell me they look like they're missing fucking Von Miller, and you're lying. Next game, Vikings at 49ers. I said it last week. I wanted to see if the Vikings could continue. So last week I asked if the Vikings could sustain what they've been building on. Well, they got beat by this one. And with no realistic running game, yes, Dalvin Cook went out with an injury, but with no realistic running game and less than 300 yards in the air, plus they coughed up the ball twice, what do you expect? The 49ers, they have been sneaking their way back into the fucking mix of things. I gotta give them credit for that. They've been very, very sneaky. I still don't see them as being a great team, but they are definitely good enough. They're good enough to be a problem for some teams. So they have the potential of a great rushing attack, although all of their starting running backs are injured. So what do? They stick Deebo Samuel in the backfield, and he still gets what, like 66 fucking yards or some shit. But overall, they get 200 yards on the ground and 230 in the air. This is how you beat the Vikings. You control the air, you control the ground, and then you dominate them. You dominate their defense. I mean, that's granted, that's kind of the scheme for everybody. But the Vikings, most especially, if you take away their run game, you leave the entire game on Kirk Cousins, and that's not necessarily a good thing. And that's exactly what they did. They dominated the fucking running game, made Kirk Cousins try to do things, and didn't do it very good. So they won. So yeah, Vikings 26, 49ers 34. Man. So Rams at Packers. This was a huge game of interest for me, and of course I didn't put the fucking score in because I'm a douchebag. I mean, like, I know who won, but yeah. I don't think I put the score in for any of the last games. Yeah, I guess I did. I just didn't put this one. So Rams 28, Packers 36. Rams, 2 fumbles, 1 interception, and just terrible offensive play overall. Defensively, they harassed the shit out of Aaron Rodgers to a point, but at the same time, he made them pay for it with 307 yards in the air, even though they only got 93 yards on the ground, which 93 yards isn't terrible. Like, anything between 85 and 120 is good, in my opinion. Some teams you expect more, some teams you kind of just figure they're going to have the lower end of that. So, and honestly, they end the game. The one thing that got me is that they end the game with some very, very interesting, shitty play calls. That's the truth of it. The Rams just... The Rams just did some dumb shit at the end of the game when they had an opportunity to come back. They weren't stopping the clock. They weren't doing things well at all. They just looked bad. So, I don't know. Is this the matter of all of a sudden you got a shit ton of superstars on a team and they're just not gelling yet? I mean, is that where we're at with this point? Or is there egos involved? Or is there coaches versus just so much new shit and they just can't get everybody on the same page? I guess that falls kind of in the same as the first category. But still, I don't know if it's just they're just playing piss poor or they're just not all on the same page. But either way, they look rough. So instead of saying Aaron Rodgers has a turf toe issue, Packers, by the way, obviously, they actually say that Aaron Rodgers has a broken or at least a fractured toe, and he still gets a rushing touchdown. Oh yeah, and he smoked the Rams defense. Yeah, that's really the story of it. The Packers defense stepped up when they needed to. They didn't look amazing either, though. I mean, honestly, the Packers are one of those few teams that they're like the ugly team, right? As far as the top 4 NFC teams right now, they're really the ugly team, but they're the ugly winning team. For them, it doesn't have to look pretty because they've got a damn good shot at winning every fucking game they go into. Take away the one where Jordan Love was starting against the Chiefs, and their games haven't been amazing per se, but they've been more than enough. So, Browns at Ravens. Browns 10, Ravens 16. Huge game of interest for me, divisionally and just for seeding purposes. Which teams were we actually going to see in this game? So first of all, the Browns. What a fucking mess. Defensively, they feasted on stupid plays to a point, but they didn't look amazing either. They schemed to bottle Lamar Jackson up, and considering he got 68 yards on the ground, they did okay. Not amazing, but they did okay. They also played him well in the pass game, although he surely wasn't helping himself in that regard either. What's absolutely killing me with this team is their offense. Mayfield's all over the place. The receivers can't seem to get open, and even when they do, they seem to drop more passes than they catch. And even with Chubb and Hunt in there, it's like they can't run very well. It's not terrible, but it's not enough to support a comfortable passing scheme, okay? I know that this team has 100% been all over the place with injuries. That's you can't debate that. But it's hard to see where the hell they're going to end up with this season other than potentially missing the postseason. And if they missed the postseason, they need to just take the next few games and really look at where the fuck they're at right now to really start playing that next man up bit, because that's what's been killing them more than anything. So the Ravens, my God, what an ugly fucking game for Lamar Jackson. I mean, absolutely fucking ugly. If it were any other team other than the dynamic Ravens, you would normally don't see teams recovering from this kind of game, but they just kept pushing, even with absolutely boneheaded fucking plays. The defense kept them in the game without question. I mean, first of all, Lamar Jackson literally throws 4 terrible interceptions that he just should not have thrown. He got somewhat bottled up with running, but kept just enough going to keep the pressure on. And they basically won the game off of 1 touchdown and field goals. I mean, I'm sorry, but if they continue to play this ugly style of play, their tenure in the postseason is going to be very short, okay? It just is. Under normal circumstances, you don't see this kind of play and then watch somebody make it all the way to the big game, the Super Bowl. You just don't usually see that. And it's like each season under Lamar, they've been explosive as hell. But much like Mahomes this year, it's like they're both having growing pains and they're both trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with their fucking careers at the moment. I don't know. It's weird. Fucking weird. So final game, Seahawks at Washington. Seahawks 15, Washington 17. Now this is the one team that if they can get their heads out of their butts, they may have a chance, if the Cowboys keep fucking up, they may have a chance to actually make a run for the East. But man, are they going to have to stay on their game. So Seahawks, their offense looks like ass. But honestly, it's coming down to some really badly missed reads by Russell Wilson, and that's really saying something because he's usually very good. But I saw multiple times Metcalf was open, Lockett was open, should have audibled out of running plays into obvious passing plays. It's like, I don't know if that finger is more on his mind than the game or what, but he just does not look good. Defensively, they actually didn't look terrible. They really didn't. I think at this point, I think that we can officially stick a fork in this team or stick a knife in this team as they are done. I mean, week 12 and they're fucking 3-8. Sorry, I mean, unless there's some weird implosion in the NFC and they go on a complete winning streak at this point, I do not see them touching the postseason. I just don't, not with their present play. So the Washington football team, well, I'll be damned. Their defense actually kept an already uncomfortable quarterback even more uncomfortable. And I'll be damned if they, if they don't look like complete ass all of a sudden. I mean, as a team, they don't look amazing per se, but they look better than some of the others that are sitting in the bottom of the NFC playoff race at the present moment. And truthfully, that puts them in this very interesting, fortuitous position that if they should make the playoffs, whether it's in wild card or if they do take that number 4 spot, if the Cowboys keep falling apart and they're able to continue to win like they have been, whether it's in the 4 or in the 6 or 7, I think it puts them in a very fortuitous position to where I don't know that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl or even the championship game, but they could make some games very fucking interesting if their defense can continue this way and their offense just put enough pressure on the game to make things funky, So, I don't know. So, the overall standings as of right now. Okay, so the AFC side, the Ravens are number 1. They're 8-3. They're number 1. The Patriots are number 2. The Titans are number 3. The Chiefs are number 4. Chiefs had a bye week this week. Bengals are now number 5. The Bills are number 6. Yeah. The Chargers are 7. So that's your top playoff seeding. Now the bubble teams are where it gets interesting though, okay? Because the Bengals and the Bills, okay, they're sitting there neck and neck for that 5 and 6 seed. They're both tied up 7 and 4, right? But then you got the Chargers at 6 and 5. But then you've got the Wait a second. Did I just not change that? Am I fucking stupid? Yeah, I didn't change it. That's why. Whoa, that's definitely wrong. Oh my god. Sorry, I had the wrong number in here. The Browns record. So yeah, I mean, the number 7 seed is the interesting point. And the thing of it is it's only a 1 game off difference from 5 through 7. The 5th seed, both teams are 7 and 4. 7 seed, 6 and 5. But the teams on the bubble are the Broncos, the Raiders, the Colts, and the Browns. The Browns are pretty fucked up. The Colts keep shooting themselves in the foot, so I just don't know where those two stand. But the Raiders and the Broncos, being right behind the Chargers, all 3 are at 6 and 5 right now. That's a very, very interesting thing. And the thing of it is, they're only 1 game off of the Chiefs being in the number 1 spot. And the Chiefs next week play the Broncos. So this could be a 2-way tie for first and a 2-way tie for fourth or third, however you would like to look at that. If the Broncos should come out with a win against the Chiefs this next week. So, I mean, this is a very interesting situation. I mean, there's a 2-game difference between, well, a half a game difference between where the Chargers are at 6 and 5 and the Colts and the Browns at 6 and 6. You know, I mean, it's weird. So that's the AFC. It's the bottom end of the wild card is a fucking mess. It's anybody's fucking game right now. But that's kind of the same thing with the NFC with slightly lesser teams. So the Cardinals 9 and 2. Yeah. Not upset with that at all. The Cardinals are at 9 and 2. The Packers 9 and 3. I see both of those teams as staying in those positions unless something really weird happens. I see the Cardinals and the Packers potentially flip-flopping them a couple of times, but I see them both being the number 1 and number 2. The Buccaneers are now at number 3, and the Cowboys are at number 4 with 7 and 4 record. This is why I say it's interesting, because the Washington football team is sitting in the number 7 seed at a 5 and 6 record. So we're talking about a 2-game difference. So if the Cowboys keep fucking up and Washington keeps playing good, Cowboys need to lose 3 games. Washington needs to win 3 games. And all of a sudden, Washington's in the number 4 spot and the Cowboys are in the number 7, if not being on the bubble. Just depends. So we'll see. But Cardinals are 9 and 2, Packers 9 and 3, Buccaneers are 8 and 3. Cowboys are 7 and 4, Rams are 7 and 4, but honestly, if they keep going the way that they're going, I don't think that they're going to stay in that spot for very long. I mean, they're 2 games ahead of anybody on the bubble. Okay, but there's also one team that's sitting on the bubble that's just waiting, just fucking trying, not amazingly, but trying to at least get into the postseason, and that would be the Vikings. But the Rams are 7 and 4, 49ers are 6 and 5, so the 49ers are back in it, and Washington football team being in the 7 seed is 5 and 6. But the Vikings are also 5 and 6. And if the Vikings can get their collective heads out of their asses and the Rams keep fucking stumbling, I could see the 49ers being in the 5, Washington or the Cowboys being in the 6, and the Vikings trailing in it to 7 by the end of the season if these teams can get their heads out of their butts. But again, the bottom end is literally a 2-game difference. The 6 and 7 seed, or the 6 seed is 6 and 5. The bottom of the bubble is 5 and 7. That's the Eagles. It's a fucking mess. I don't know what to say. It's a fucking mess. So that has been the Week 12 breakdown. What a mess. What a fucking mess, man. So, I don't know. I want to thank you guys very much for checking it out, and I'll catch you next week, all right?